Hello, welcome to the Comic Coach podcast with yours truly, Stroud, the Comic Coach. And this is, of course, the podcast to help you have impact in your leadership and your life. And today it is a solo episode. That's right, it's just me, yours truly. And I hope you've all had a splendid week. I am fresh back from Canada, was in Toronto. Quite a place. Got to be honest, it impacted me. See what I did there? No, I loved it. For those of you who haven't been to Canada, it's got an underground city called The Path, which slightly blew my mind. And also, it's on such a big lake that it feels like it's on the sea. So I got to go on that. And I also went to a baseball game. So I got to experience quite a lot of Toronto while I was there. And I was actually out there delivering a keynote for the Fabulous Women in Payment Symposium, and yeah, it was awesome. It was a really lovely experience just to be out there and just see how kind of my work can land with a room full of awesome women. You know, there were a few men there as well, but that was lovely. But this podcast today, I wanted to do a solo one because I suddenly realised that lots of you are new to me. Hello, where have you been all my life? I've been doing this stuff for 20 plus years, but you found me. Well done. And I thought, you know what? Maybe what I should do is I'm asking all of these fabulous guests that are going to come, and trust me when I say I've got some awesome people. I have some awesome people that are lined up for you. I thought, you know what? I'm going to answer my own questions so you can get a bit more of an idea about who I am, because I know the podcasts that I really love are those where you get a sense where you're like, okay, cool. I just feel like I'm just chatting away to a friend. So for those of you that don't know me, I thought this might be a good idea just to do a simple, shortish little episode, because, you know, I do like to chat and I love chatting to you all about, you know, who is impacting me and how I got to this place. So let's go. Ooh, question number one, Em. Oh, yes, okay, I'm ready. I feel like that's quite weird. I'm sort of interviewing myself. I can move around like this if you want, but no, that's if you're watching. You've seen, I've just moved my head. But as you know, the first question on the Comic Coach podcast is who's had the greatest impact in your life? I'm going to say two people, because I can, because it's my podcast. The first one has to be my dad. My dad was awesome. And although I only had him for 10 years of my life, he made me realise that you don't have to do things in a traditional way. You can do things in whatever way feels right for you. Because he was an entrepreneur and he lived life in a way that was brave and bold and different to what other people's parents did. And yeah, he also fueled me with so much love and possibilities, because I was the miracle baby. I think I mentioned on the end of previous episode of my pod, I am, you know, literally a miracle. I mean, we're all miracles, but my dad was born in 1900. I'll just leave you with that, and then you get an idea of what a miracle I really am. So yeah, my dad massively impacted me. And then the second person I'm going to say, a little bit schmaltzy, is my wife. She came into my life nearly 5 years ago, although she'll hate me for saying that because that's like wishing her life away. And yeah, she's massively impacted my life in every good possible way, made me reconnect with love, open my heart, challenges the way that I think and the way that I behave. And yeah, she's awesome. So those are the two people. I mean, there are loads that have impacted my life, but off the top of my head right now, those are the two people I'm going to say. So, question number two, what keeps you motivated in what you do? I think when I see and have conversations with people who have maybe read my book or have seen me do a show or have heard me speak or I've coached, and quite often it's the people that I really don't know. So I'm standing up and there might be a few hundred people or whatever. When I have those moments where somebody comes up to me and goes, yeah, when I go home, I'm going to do something differently. Or when I have somebody give me a hug, which happened a couple of weeks ago after doing a keynote, and she just said, I so needed to hear everything that you said. It's really easy to stay motivated, because actually in those interactions with fabulous human beings, I can feel how me sharing my truth and what's helped me and what's helped others lands with others. And when I feel that, why would I not be motivated to do what I do? And it's a real privilege to do what I do. So yeah, That's how I keep motivated. I keep motivated because as I shift and change and evolve and grow, I then can see other people shifting, changing, evolving and growing. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I create this podcast. It's to help you maybe shift in one way that makes you feel better. How do you play? I play in lots of ways, actually. Now, over time, I no doubt will share with you all, that I've kind of identified that there's 12 ways that adults play. And I definitely play in lots of ways. I definitely play as a competitor. I generally compete against myself now, but I am a competitive person. For those of you that are competitive, so recognise me. But I also play as a mover now, where I'm just enjoying just moving my body, not in competition with myself, but just moving, And I found myself, I think this is a legacy of COVID, I dance quite a lot in my house now. I just kind of dance and jiggle around. Favourite thing at the moment is, have you heard the new Linkin Park song, The Emptiness Machine? Emptiness Machine. That does not sound like it at all, by the way. But when I hear that, it does something. And so I move, and that's definitely a way I play. I play because I'm an improviser and I'm a clown. I'm a performer, so a lot of my work is play. How did I do that? Clever. Get to play. It's my work. It's very fun. And also I play with my dog. And I play because I collect things. So collecting and keeping things is also a way I play. So I play a lot. I think it would be a bit odd doing what I do as the comic coach and talking a lot about play. I think it'd be quite strange if I didn't play quite a lot, but I do play quite a lot. What is one action you have taken recently that has impacted your life? These are very good questions. I wonder who came up with them. Oh, you did. Oh, well done. One action that's really impacted my life, and I wrote a post about it a little while ago. So my fabulous missus, she, for my birthday, gave me this book. Now, I guess in kind of the easiest way of describing it would be a journal. But it's not just a journal. It's a 90-day answering different questions. The start of it was, I think, 6 or 7 different facets of life. Did the wheel of life, which some of you might have seen, where you kind of colour in, you literally have a circle and then you colour in the different points of each of the different, of how happy you are in relationships and money and contribution and work. And then you answer lots of questions, and then you start this process where every day you write down what are the actions you're going to take for that day, and then there's reflection questions at the end, and there's a diary thing, and then at the weekends you have sort of maybe about half an hour worth of reflection. And I decided, and as I said, it's 90 days, and I'm a really big believer. So many people go, January, new year, new me, and and I do think September is a little bit like that as well for those of us raised in the West, because we all start school in September, right? But for me, I decided to do it in January. No, not in January. I decided to start in September. And as I'm recording this, we're just getting towards October. And this action of really conscious self-reflection with questions given by others and committing to it every day has kept me slower. It's kept me more focused. It's kept me more intentional about how I want to show up. And I think it's also helping me be a bit kinder to myself as well. So recently, that's been an action that's massively impacted my life. And, if you're listening to this and this lands, then I'll put a link about what it is. But I don't really want to put the link, because if I put the link, then I see how much it was, and it was a gift. So I'll send the picture. So somewhere on my socials there'll be a picture, and then you can go find it, and then I don't need to know how much it was. There we go. Very good. And question number 5. Oh, goodness me. How do I take care of myself? I am pretty good now for exercising, at least 3 or 4 times a week. I have a Team M. Now, for those of you that have just met me and you've just found the podcast, whatever, hello, welcome. Team M is something that I think every one of us should have. Obviously, change your name to your name, otherwise you'll feel very weird. And Team M includes having a massage therapist, having a healer, having a coach, a business mentor, having a therapist, having an accountant, having a VA, having a nutritionist. Now, I don't see all these people all the time. PT. I don't see all these people all the time. But as I define self-care and taking care of myself, it's being in a place where I'm not leading, I'm not having to hold anybody else, and I'm being held. And so in order to take care of me as M, I have to have those people around and in my life. And I guess other ways that I take care of myself is that I make sure that I spend time with the people that I love. And I also make sure that this is a new one, when I go for a walk with my dog, I try most of the time not to take my phone with me. So I'm just walking. I also meditate. So I'm in a place where I've worked really hard to get to a place where I do take care of myself. But I have to work at it, and it's not easy. And I still have moments where I massively go, that's a bit self-indulgent. You've got 3 hours on yourself this week. And it's like, come on, Em. That's 3 hours in a whole week. So that's how I take care of myself. What have I been thinking about in the last couple of days? I've been thinking, these questions are good. Oh, no wonder everyone goes, oh, yes, I haven't been asked these before. These are good. In the last couple of days, there's been a couple of things that have really been in my head. So one, and it is both work actually, and it's not always about work, but one has been the shifting and the editing and the rewriting of my new one-woman show called The M Show, Tales from a Little Laughing Lesbian. It's going to be in London in December. I've got 3 nights in London, and then I'm going to be taking it on tour in 2025. And I've got an amazing new director, and we had a day together, and that has really shifted how I'm thinking about the show. Plus, this weekend I just went and saw Ruby Wax's show. Maybe I'm not as well as I thought I was. And seeing another one-person show just really cemented a few things for me about how I want this show to be, how I want it to feel, what do I want it to look like, and the craft of the show. So really the nuance. And I'm really in this place where, how do I add more magic to it? How do I make it so that it takes my audience on a journey? So I've been really thinking about that. And the other thing I've been really thinking about is my new way of working. Now, for a long time, I've been travelling around and going to various different gigs. And actually, as soon as I finish recording this, I'm actually travelling to go to another gig. And I've realised over the last sort of 6 months or so that I want to change that. And so I have. So I have been thinking about, in essence, what does that look like? And what it looks like in truth is I'm going to be working a lot more in London, and I'm going to be launching the Leadership Impact School, which I'm really excited about, where people can come and work with me, all about the 12 pillars of impact that I've worked out, and also the Leadership Impact School online. And knowing that I'm shifting to that is super important. You know, my work, as all of us, has to change, and it moves and everything else like this. But actually, I've done this because my why has changed. Now, I mentioned earlier my awesome wife, who I only got married to this year, so it's still quite new saying wife. And I also have an awesome son. And actually, what I've really been thinking about over the last few weeks is actually how I can be more present for them. And because I work for myself and because I'm in charge of my own world, actually what I'm doing is I'm really shifting how it is that I'm working. And that feels really exciting because it feels kinder to my family. It feels kinder to me. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to travel at all, but it just means that the base of my work will be, if you want to come and hang out with the Comic Coach, it's not podcast, this is the podcast, Em. But if you want to come and hang out with the Comic Coach, this is where I'm at. And there's something about a shift in terms of my own sense of self by doing that, rather than being like, I'll go there, I'll go here, I'll go there, I'll go here. And actually it's like, no, where I am in my life right now, I really want to think about the impact that I'm having on my family, the people that I love, but also on myself. And by being more grounded and it links back to the thing about doing the journal and the book, by being more grounded in every sense. Like this year I've travelled to Dubai, to Canada, to the States, to Australia. That was a holiday though. I've travelled a lot, and I've travelled a lot within the UK as well. And actually, there's a thing about shifting that. And there comes a moment where I've just been really thinking, and it's like, actually, I'm in a place where it's like, no, I want to ground. And there's something very exciting about that, and going, this is where I'm at, and this is what I'm doing. And it's shifted, for me. And that, I think, is part of why I'm doing this podcast. I'm doing this podcast about exploring impact and what that even means for us, and choices and decisions, and how we live our lives. And I've already spoken to some really interesting people, and the conversations go in different routes, because we're all at different stages all the time, right? And there are certain times where we focus on one thing, there's other times when we focus on another thing. But I think if there's something that I see universally, is quite often we've just made all these decisions and we haven't thought about the long-term impact on us, or we make a decision based on fear, or we make a decision based upon guilt, or make a decision about joy. But sometimes we don't allow ourselves to explore what that impact is. And as we look back, and as I'm going to be chatting to loads of different people, part of my job is to help other people look back so that we can all learn from the decisions and the choices that they've made, so that as you're listening to this, you can go, you know what, I want to shift that. I want to do this so that I can feel better, so that I can shift and change and grow in whatever way. Or just raising our own awareness of going, okay, if I do this today, that's going to be the impact on me tomorrow. What will my future self say? What impact are my decisions right now having on my life right now? And this is all really pertinent. This is why, I am living this right now. I'm shifting and I'm changing, and I'm challenging me to be really mindful about how I impact others. Not only my inner world, for myself, first and foremost, but my inner world in terms of my family and the people that I love and my friends, but also in the bigger world in terms of my work. Where is it that I'm placing my energy? How can I best be of service? But in order to do that, I have to go, okay, so how have I got to this place? How have me as M. Stroud ended up sitting on this brown chair with that particular picture behind me, with those pictures behind me, with that bookshelf, with my dog to my left? I hope I've painted the scene if you're just listening to this and you're not watching it on YouTube. But for me, it's that thing of going, I'm fascinated with how I can shift how I feel so that I can have more impact for myself and then for others. And that's why I'm doing this podcast, and that's why I'm asking these questions. And from these questions, let's go on this journey together, and let's really see how much we can impact first and foremost our own lives, but then the other people around us. So there you go. There's another episode of the Comic Coach podcast with me, M. Stroud. If you've liked it, if something resonates with you, let me know. I love engaging and chatting with you all. Follow me on Instagram, so it's MR Stroud, so that's EMR Stroud, with the at before it. And if you want to find out, that's the best place. I'm putting up different content there every day just to help you have more impact and things like that. So follow me on that. If you're in London, come see my show. It'll be funny, but it will also make you think, because that's kind of what I'm about. And if you're curious about finding out about the Leadership Impact School, then go on the leadershipimpactschool.com. And I think by the time this goes out, that website will all be live and that will all be announced. So that's all quite exciting. So let me know. I'd love to have some of you come to the school, come and hang out with me, come and spend a day with me. And if you're not in the UK and you're like, oh, I love this stuff, then join the Leadership Impact School online. All of the stuff is going to be kicking off in the next couple of weeks. So I'd love to have you as a member. So yeah, there you go. Thank you for listening. And I look forward to catching up with you next week. Have a great week. Go create some awesome impact. Take care.